All right, well, here's the situation so far. The other day, as I frequently do, I was browsing through the internet looking at Yamaha YZ motorcycles. I really like the YZ, it's a great bike. I used to have one, actually, and unfortunately, that motorcycle was stolen from me quite a while ago. It was pretty upsetting, actually. It was my favorite motorcycle that I had. And if you've watched the channel before, you know that I did a video on it not too long ago. I actually posted it a week ago today. It's got quite a few views, at least for my channel. And if you're watching this, chances are you've probably seen it. So like I said, kind of browsing through here, always kind of looking for a YZ. And then I see this bike right here. Something about this bike just kind of stands out. It is a 1978 Yamaha YZ400E, as listed here, which is actually the exact bike that I had stolen. So I click on it. And wow, does that bike look familiar? My bike was yellow, as are almost all YZs from the 70s and 80s, at least the early 80s. This one is painted blue. Looks kind of like an IT. The tank is still yellow, but it has been painted over with something, I don't know. And the engine is gold. If you're familiar with YZs, you know that none of these colors are correct. And if you look close, you can tell how bad of a job they've done painting. It's already peeling off all over. The fender's clearly yellow under here. Looking a little closer, they don't have boots. They've got seal savers. Huh. Also, for a 78, this is the wrong plastic. This is the plastic off a 79. This is an aftermarket rear fender. You can tell because it doesn't have the center groove. Just a few of these things so far. The other thing that really caught my eye are the mismatched levers. Here it looks like we have an original aluminum with a sphere on the end. Here we've got like a shorter version that's flat on the top and the bottom. And this photo is just so difficult to not see because the stance on this bike is pretty unique even for YZ400Es. Here's my motorcycle right after I got it. You can see it's got the seal savers up here in the front. This is not a good picture, but it does have the two different levers mismatched. If you look on the other side here, you'll see the wrong plastic, which I didn't realize at the time, but after digging around between model year differences, this is the wrong plastic. The plastic on the 78 matches this on the other side, and on the 79 is a longer plastic like what you'll see on the other side here. But I think this picture right here is remarkably similar. Closer shot of the seal savers. Something interesting about it. Notice how the S there is worn off. And there you see. Very interesting. Very suspiciously, the S is also worn down in the same way. That's not the correct plastic for a 78. Here's a picture of my bike that was stolen. Clearly with the same incorrect plastic on the left side. Gold. They didn't do a good job at it. It looks terrible. And you can see it's already wearing off. The only kind of people who do these kinds of paint jobs are dumb kids who steal motorcycles. Now this image at first kind of looks like the last. It's a little hard to tell anything specific because, well, for one, you'll notice the aftermarket carb, which is new, has not been painted. The fuel lines, which are new, have not been painted. Kind of screams was added after this bike was painted. But again, no real evidence or proof of anything there. However, this side of the engine case does have the VIN. And even though this is a very terrible picture, it was taken pretty far away, there's not a lot of detail here, it's still kind of clear to read. Every single 1978 Yamaha YZ400 has this same beginning 3 numbers. So nothing really there. Dash 0, 0. Every single Yamaha YZ400E also has that, because there were around 7,600 made or so. Something I've learned in the last day reading up on all these differences here. Now the next digit is a 7. Very, very clear and easy to read. Now, since there were less than 8,000 made, there are less than 1,000 motorcycles that have a digit with a 7 in the third position. As I'll show in a minute, the second number is also, again, very easy to read. Probably not showing up very well on camera. It doesn't really show up super well, but it's pretty unmistakably. There's only one number with this very distinct line indicating it. And the final number, let's just assume the last digit is totally unreadable, which it isn't. But if it were, that would leave 10 motorcycles with those first numbers shared between this bike listed and mine. So the VIN is the same, and that's really the only piece of information that's important. The rest of this stuff is then obvious. Well, if the VIN is the same, this is my motorcycle, and of course, it's gonna be looking exactly the same. But this picture right here is all I needed to see. This is, without a doubt, my motorcycle. The one thing that used to irritate me about this bike that I tried to fix a couple of times, one time had some success, and then after I crashed, it went right back to the same position it is now, is this twist in the rear aftermarket fender. One of the mounting holes has a split, and so it won't sit correctly where the mounting bolt goes. And this causes it to rest on top of a little piece of plastic that's kind of cracked, and that gives it this twist. And here you can see very clearly the opposite side that you should not be able to see is very visible because this side right here is turned up. At this angle, you should not be able to see the far side. It's pretty obviously twisted. That drove me nuts. I tried to fix it. I had some success. I crashed and it went right back. So the plan is, tomorrow, I'm going to drive to where this bike is located. It's about an hour and a half away. And first stop will be at the sheriff's department. Why am I going to the sheriff's department first? Well, because I want to try and recover this bike the correct way. I want to do it the legal way. The plan is that I'm going to meet the seller at 12 o'clock noon, high noon. I picked that time because I think it's a fun time. Also, it's a good time of day. It gives plenty of time for the rest of the day. Nothing's too crazy at noon, whatever. I've got some cash too. I don't know. Maybe if the person's super cool, I give them a finder's fee. I'm not going up there looking to just take this thing away and be a jerk about it. I do not think the seller is the one who stole it. Whatever, but you know, it's been a while now. And what's interesting is part of what got me into being able to look at this so close was the fact that I edited and posted this video last week. Because had I not done that, I was still a little salty about it. I was still a little unwilling to dig deep and to really look. I looked for it for a couple of weeks because I was just like frantic, but there was nothing. I have seen this bike listed for a while now, but it didn't look like it to me because I never really looked that close. But now that I look close, there is absolutely zero chance that it is not mine, especially right here. I mean, I took this same photo so many times. I don't think that the seller is the thief. I think that the seller probably was dumb, didn't do their homework, bought this bike because they thought it was cool, probably got a really good deal on it. But whoever ends up with this bike is going to have a lot of work of stripping off terrible paint and a little bit of work to get the thing back to running condition. I would love to make a second video of me getting this bike once again from non-running to running condition, and then once again riding it out in the desert. But we're going to have to wait till tomorrow and figure out what it is that we can do about it. Stay tuned.
All right. Getting ready to head out. It's the next morning. Oh boy. We'll see.
You've never driven to... It's pretty far out here in the middle of nowhere. Just like everything else out here, I guess. Probably a pretty nice place to live out here if you like quiet desert life. Convoy of Ford Raptors from Texas. Looks like I'm gonna get them. Well, he can go. They gotta squeeze in there. I mean, they can all talk to each other through CB, so I don't know what the rush was. It is from Texas. I bet you it's a part of this whole thing. There must be a race or something. This is like the whole crew. Rally. Oh, it's the mid 400.
Where are they going?
Probably out into the desert. It's funny, they all had to drive past me, and look at that. Whee! Right past them. Here we are at the sheriff's station. A lot of people in there. Hopefully it's not too busy. Just walked out of the sheriff's department, and it took a few minutes of going over photographs and evidence that I had. I need to call the number here, talk to the non-emergency dispatch, and explain to them the situation, and it's possible that a sheriff's officer will be able to accompany me to the location to verify everything that I've said so far. So heading back to the rig now, gonna give them a call, see what the dispatch says on the phone, and then we still have about an hour and a half until the meetup time, so plenty of time. We're good there. That went a little faster than I expected in the sheriff's office, which is always a good thing. Well, we called the number, and dispatch is going to send an officer here to speak with me. I'm gonna show him all the information and whatever evidence or proof that I have that the dirt bike belongs to me. And then depending on what he says or thinks, we'll head over and look at the bike together and see what the seller says. Yep, well, a little bit by a time. Here we go. So the officer has arrived here. So I gave him all the information I had, and he's running stuff in his computer right now. So he's running the VIN. He's gonna see what comes up on this bike, and yeah, well, we'll go from there. The deputy came back with more information. He said everything checked out, my story checked out, everything looks good on that end. He said that the person who has the bike listed has zero any interaction with the police whatsoever. He said that they look like they're really good people, and he also thinks what I think is that they had nothing to do with this at all. So what he told me was, had this person been known in our system or known thief, that we would have told you not to go up there at all. We would have just gone up there, recovered the bike, and that would have been the way that we would have taken it. Worried, like, I don't want to show up at this place with cops and all this stuff and just totally ambush these people. So he says, you know, since everything came back good and these people seem like they're really good people, just, you can go up there on your own without us. You could explain the situation to them, and more than likely they'll just give you the bike back, because people in this community are really good, and they don't want to deal with anything like this. Like, they don't want to have somebody's stolen bike. Like, they'll feel bad about it, which, you know, I've never heard a sheriff's deputy or police officer or anything say anything like that about people in their community. So that just speaks loudly about this place and like how cool it is or whatever. So I'm gonna head up there, gonna check it out. He says, if you can't get the bike back like this, then, you know, just give me a call and we'll come up there, and then they'll have no choice. They'll have to give the bike back then, you know. But I'm really hoping, you know, I really don't want to like ambush these people, like I said. Like, I really don't want to just show up with like all this force all of a sudden out of nowhere, because I think it's already going to be a bad enough experience for this person, and I mean myself, really, like, whatever. But we're gonna go up there and see what happens, and so stay tuned.
destination is on the right.
So it worked out. The guy, like the sheriff said, was super cool and understanding, even though he was kind of trapped. But I gave him a $100 finder fee. Unfortunately, he's out quite a bit of money. But, you know, that's what happens when you buy used stuff. And he said, you know, I buy cheap stuff because that's what you do, and you try to do your best to get everything back together again, and sometimes you get burned. Like, super good dude. I don't think he had anything to do with it. I feel really bad about it, but it's my motorcycle. So here we are on our way back home. Kind of hard to believe that that worked out the way it did. Back home, the only little bit shown through yellow is Ma. They painted the engine gold. That's not the right carburetor, although it is a Kian. The interim holder of the bike told me that there were a couple of issues. He suspects that there's a leak in the intake manifold. It looks pretty rough in there. He says you can fire it up, and once it's going, it's really hard to stop. So it sounds like there's some kind of air leak. Yeah, it looks like it's been multiple colors since it was last here. Not super clear, but you could definitely read the VIN. Well, I gotta say, this bike has never looked worse. But seeing it back here is definitely a relief. Didn't sleep much. I haven't slept much the past couple days. Just thinking about this and wondering how it would go. I never even imagined that it would have gone the way it did, but a lot of good people up there. The guy who had it, he was shocked. He said that the thing was stolen. He had no idea, but you know, without a doubt, it's my bike, and it's falling apart. He says every piece of hardware is loose on here. It definitely needs to be gone through. So, YZ400 clapped out, or classic thumper, part 2. The redo, I'd say she's probably clapped out now. But let's get her back to classic thumper. But yeah, that's it for the update. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing me recover this motorcycle, something that almost never happens. It's pretty much completely unheard of. And here it is. It can happen. Follow through, do things legitimately, don't go crazy, do your best to do the right thing, and you never know, maybe it'll come back.